So this is 3 quarterbacks I'm looking to buy heading into week 9 for fantasy football. And the first quarterback I'm going to look to buy is Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. This rookie, he's been very impressive this whole season since he came in and started in week 2. He's got a huge arm. He's not scared throwing the ball down the field, which could hurt or help him, which we saw yesterday. He threw an interception in the end zone. But Herbert, he's going to take his chances. The Chargers, they're a struggling team. They're 2-5, and for Herbert's stats, it wasn't that great of a game for him, but still for a quarterback, he had a great fantasy day. 278, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 windows, and he gave you that 2 points on the ground with 21 rushing yards. So Herbert, seems like every game he's either throwing for 300 yards or 3 touchdowns, and once again, he's got a pretty easy schedule coming up the next 3 weeks. Vegas, Miami, and the Jets. So this is the second time in 3 weeks I told you go out there and get Justin Herbert, because this guy, he's legit. Yeah, it takes a few games to see if he's legit or not, but this guy, he passes the eye test. He's got some decent weapons with Keenan Allen, Justin Jackson, who had a nice game receiving also out of the backfield, Hunter Henry, who I'll talk about in later videos. But yeah, Justin Herbert, if an owner's out there desperate and he needs a running back or something, and you got a lot of depth at receiver or back, go out there and try to get Herbert in the right deal. The second guy I'm going to look to get a quarterback, and he's been struggling, and managers, they're definitely frustrated with him, is Lamar Jackson. Once again yesterday, he didn't reach 20 fantasy points for the 5th time this season. And Jackson, we saw go in the first or second round. I've seen him go in a lot of drafts, and I never value quarterbacks that high, really, except Mahomes or Peyton Manning back in the day and Brady. But Jackson, he's not putting up the big numbers you wanted him to put up this year. He only has 2 games over 30 fantasy points, is Jackson. But now I think it's a good time to buy him low. You could get him real cheap, I think, for a number 2 receiver and number 2 running back in a deal. So Lamar Jackson, I know there's tons of owners in my leagues looking to dump him off. I flipped him a few weeks ago, but that trade hasn't worked out either. I traded him for Cam Newton and Chris Carson, who is yet to play. Hopefully he comes back, but that's a story for another day. So a deal along those lines. Jackson, for you could get him cheaper now, though, for like a Cam Newton and a Jonathan Taylor, you could give up to get Jackson, and that's not a bad deal. And the third and final quarterback, I'm going to look to buy low, even though this guy's been balling of late, coming off the bye week now, is Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans. Watson now, in his last 2 games, he's cracked over 30 points, and in week 6, he cracked 40 points. He had a 40-point game, so Deshaun Watson, has Jacksonville, coming up, and then Cleveland. So 2 super matchups coming up for Watson. He's going to put in the work. The Texans, they're a horrible team. You know, they're going to throw the ball 35 to 45 times a game. And Watson now, he has 4 games over 300 yards on the season. And he's a premium quarterback. Sometimes it takes him time to get going, but when he does, he takes off. And that's what we've been seeing from Deshaun Watson the last few weeks now. So go out there and try to get him. You might have to pay a little high of a price right now, but this is a guy with his schedule heading into the fantasy playoffs, is a guy who could lead your team if you're 3-5 or 4-4 and catapult you into the playoff hunt, and then anything can happen from there. So that's 3 quarterbacks I'm looking to go trying to buy and trade for going into week 9.